Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we'll be working through Excel Module 2. The book we're using is the Shelley Cashman series, Microsoft Office 365 Excel 2016 Intermediate Book by Freund and Starks. Let's start on page EX58, where you can see an example of what the final result will look like. Our tutorial begins on page EX61. To enter the worksheet title and subtitle, Step 1. Run Excel and create a blank workbook in the Excel window. Step 2. If necessary, select cell A1. Type Olivia's Art Supply in the selected cell, and then press the down arrow key to enter the worksheet title. Step 3. Type Salary Report in cell A2, and then press the down arrow key to enter the worksheet subtitle. To enter the column titles, page EX61, Step 1. With cell A3 selected, type Employee, and then press the right arrow key to enter the column heading. Step 2. Type Email address in cell B3, and then press the right arrow key. Step 3. In cell C3, type Dependents, and then press the right arrow key. Step 4. In cell D3, type Hours, and then press the Alt and Enter keys to enter the first line of the column heading. Type Worked, and then press the right arrow key to enter the column heading. Step 5. Type Hourly in cell E3, press the Alt and Enter key, type Pay Rate, and then press the right arrow key. Step 6. Type Gross Pay in cell F3, and then press the right arrow key. Alt-Enter lets you start a new line within a cell. Step 7. Type Federal Tax in cell G3, and then press the right arrow key. Step 8. Type State Tax in cell H3, and then press the right arrow key. Step 9. Type Tax Percent in cell I3, and then press the right arrow key. Step 10. Type Net Pay in cell J3, and then press the right arrow key. Step 11. Type Hire Date in cell K3, and then press the right arrow key. Page EX62 to enter the salary data. Step 1. Select cell A4. Type Bennett, Joanne, and then press the right arrow key 2 times to enter the employee name and make cell C4 the active cell. Step 2. Type 2 in cell C4, and then press the right arrow key. Step 3, type 64.25 in cell D4, and then press the right arrow key. Step 4, type 19.75 in cell E4. Step 5, click cell K4 and then type 4/5/12. Step 6, enter the payroll data in table 2-1 for the 8 remaining employees in rows 5 through 12. When you're entering the hours worked, there's no need to type in the 0.00 or any trailing zeros because Excel will recognize that you're entering a number and will fill in, will know however you represent it, that those numbers are equivalent. The same applies for dates. If you enter 4/5/12, Excel will automatically recognize the date as 4/5/2012 and format the date accordingly. On page EX63, to use flash fill, let's first define flash fill. Flash fill is an Excel feature that looks for patterns in the data and automatically fills or formats data in remaining cells. It's actually a super useful feature. And so to use it, let's start with step 1 on page EX63. Click cell B4 to select it. Type jbennett@email.com and then press the down arrow key to select cell B5. Type mfred@email.com and then press the down and then click the enter button to enter Michael Fred's email address in cell B5. Step 2 on page EX63. Click Data on the ribbon to select the Data tab. Here's where we'll find Flash Fill. It's in the Data tab in the Data Tools group. Over in the Data Tools group. And the icon is like a little lightning bolt with a grid behind it. Click that button to enter similarly formatted email addresses in the range B6 to B12. So at this company, it looks like the format for their email address is the first initial of their first name, followed by their last name at email.com. And Excel was able to infer that pattern and apply it to the remaining cells in the email address column. The next step is to remove the entries from cells B1 and B2. To do that, you can just click cell B1, and then in the Home tab, there's in the Editing group a Clear button, which looks like a little rubber eraser, and you can just select Clear All. And then let's do the same thing over here. I'll just press the down arrow key to select cell B2, and in the Home tab, I'll click the Clear button in the Editing group and then select Clear All. On page EX64, to enter the row titles, step 1. Select cell A13, type totals, and then press the down arrow key to enter a row header. Step 2. Type highest in cell A14 and press the down arrow key. Step 3. Type lowest in cell A15 and then press the down arrow key. Step 4. Type average in cell A16 and then press the down arrow key. At the bottom of page EX64, step 1, double-click the Sheet 1 tab. This is in the tutorial to change the Sheet tab and name color. And then enter Salary Report as the Sheet tab name, and then press the Enter key. Step 2. Right-click the Sheet tab to display the shortcut menu. And step 3. Point to Tab Color on the shortcut menu to display the tab color gallery. Click Green, column 6, row 7 in the Standard Colors area to apply the color to the Sheet tab. So here's the Standard Colors area, and let's just go to just plain green. Step 4. Save the workbook in your hard drive, OneDrive, or other storage location using Olivia's Art Supply Salary Report as the file name. So from here we can go File, Save As, save it to our OneDrive with the name Olivia's Art Supply Salary Report. And then click Save. It's a good idea to save early and save often, so here we are doing just that. On page EX65, to enter a formula using the keyboard. A formula can be defined as an equation with more than one variable that's used to solve practical problems. You've probably worked with formulas before in mathematics, science, or business classes. Perhaps surprisingly, however, formulas are also used in psychology, anthropology, sports, art, music, the language arts, and other areas. Formulas can ascertain certain abstract possibilities, such as an object's length as its speed approaches the speed of light. Worksheets make formulas even more powerful. One common error is to create a formula with a circular reference. This occurs when a cell reference in a formula refers to the formula's result. For example, the formula equals B1 plus B2 plus B3 in cell B3 is a circular reference because the result of the formula in cell B3 depends on the value in cell B3. Therefore, Excel is unable to determine the formula's result. When a formula with a circular reference is entered, Excel immediately points out the problem and offers help. On page EX65, step 1. to enter a formula using the keyboard. With cell F4 selected, type equals D4 times E4 in the cell to display the formula in the formula bar, and the current cell, and to display colored borders around the cells referenced in the formula. So it looks like in cell F4 we're starting a formula, and we always need to start them with the equal signs. And we know that we are multiplying two things. Well, what are we multiplying to find their gross pay? Yes, if you said hours worked times an hourly pay rate, that's correct. So we're going to multiply those two values, which are in D4 and E4. And remember, no need to capitalize the letters. And now the current cell will display the results of the formula. Step 2 on page EX66. Press the right arrow key to complete the arithmetic operation. Whoops, I press entered, but you could press the right arrow key to complete the arithmetic operation indicated by the formula, display the result in the worksheet, and select the cell to the right. The number of decimal places on your screen may be different than shown in the book on page EX66, but these values will be adjusted later in the module, and usually we don't think of money as going out to 3 decimal places, but just 2, so we'll most likely come back to this later. On page EX67, to enter formulas using point mode. In the last example, we knew that we wanted to multiply hours worked by hourly pay rate to find the gross pay. We could do that by entering in the values directly into the formula bar as we did last time, or we can select the cells containing the value for hours worked and the cell containing the value for hourly pay rate. That's point mode. On page EX67, step 1, let's see an example. With cell G4 selected, type equals 0.22 times, and then an open parentheses. Then click cell F4 to add a cell reference in the formula. So it looks like to find their federal tax expense, we're going to multiply 0.22 times their gross pay. Or the federal tax rate looks like it's 22%. On page EX68, step 2. Type a minus sign and then click cell C4 to add a subtraction operator and a reference to another formula in the cell. So the federal tax rate, it looks like it's going to be 22%, not of their gross pay, but of their gross pay minus what? It's like minus the number of dependents times another constant, so another scalar multiplier, just meaning a real number here, 24.32. And that'll complete the formula. So let's close off the parentheses, and if we look at it all together, putting it all together, we can see that the formula to find the federal tax expense in cell G4 is 22% of the gross pay in F4 minus the number of dependents times that scalar multiplier 24.32. Click the Enter button, step 3 in the formula bar, and then select cell H4 to prepare to enter the next formula. Type equals 0.04 times, and then click cell F4 to add a cell reference to the formula. Step 4. On page EX68, click the Enter button in the formula bar to enter the formula in cell H4. Select cell I4, type equals and then an opening parentheses, and then Click cell G4 to add a reference to the formula. Type a plus sign and then click cell H4 to add a cell reference to the formula. Type a closed parentheses followed by a forward slash, and then click cell F4 to add a cell reference to the formula. Click the Enter button in the formula bar to enter the formula in cell I4. On page EX69, step 5, click cell J4, type an equal sign and then click cell F4. Type a minus sign and then an open parentheses and then click cell G4. Type a plus sign, click cell H4 and then type a closed parentheses to complete the formula. Click the Enter button. Page EX69 to copy formulas using the fill handle. Step 1. Select the source range F4 to J4. In this case, activate the fill handle, drag the fill handle down through cell J12, and then continue to hold the mouse button to select the destination range. So just to review, to select cells F4 to J4, that's a continuous range, so we can select cell F4 and then with the Shift key held down, select cell J4. Activate the fill handle and drag the fill handle down through cell J12. Step 2. Release the mouse button to copy the formulas to the destination range, as on page EX69. On the following page, EX70, to determine totals using the Sum button. Step 1. Select the cell to contain the sum, cell D13 in this case. Click the Sum button on the Home tab in the Editing group to sum the contents of the range D4 to D12 in cell D13, and then click the Enter button to display a total in the selected cell. Select the range to contain the sums, range F13 to H13. In this case, click the Sum button in the Home tab in the Editing group to display totals in the selected range. So you can select those cells in F13 to H13 just by clicking cell F13 and then dragging the cursor over to cell H13, or you can hold down Shift like before. Then we click the Sum button in the Home tab in the Editing group to display these totals in the selected range. Page 71, EX71, Step 3. Select the cell to contain the sum, cell J13 in this case. Click the Sum button in the Home tab in the Editing group to sum the contents of the range J4 to J12 in cell J13, and then click the Enter button to display a total in the selected cell. On page EX71, to determine the total tax percentage. I think I might have spoken too soon before. Well, let's see if the tax rate really is 22%, or if I'm wrong. On page EX71, Step 1. Select the cell to be copied, I12 in this case, and then drag the fill handle down through the cell I13 to copy the formula. On page EX72, to determine the highest number in a range of numbers using the Insert function dialog box. Step 1. Select the cell to contain the maximum number. That's cell C14 in this case. click the Insert button in the formula bar to display the Insert function dialog box. That's this f of x button right here. Click Max in the Select a Function list. It's in the Insert function dialog box, and you can see a picture on page EX72. You might need to scroll. Here it is, Max. If you don't see Max as an option in the list, just click the or select a category arrow to display the list of function categories. Select all, and then scroll down and select the Max function in the Select a Function list. On page EX73, step 2, click the OK button in the Insert Function dialog box to display the Function Arguments dialog box. Dialog box, remember, they're these little pop-up windows that sometimes give us a message or sometimes give us a message and prompt us for a little extra information to enter. Replace the text in the number 1 box with this text, C4 to C12. To enter the first argument of the function, every function needs some input and some output. Here the input is all of the cells in the range C4 to C12, so it looks like all of the number of dependents, C4 to C12. And the output's going to be whichever number of dependents is the highest. So the argument is the input, and here we're putting C4 to C12, that input, into the function argument dialog box. And now let's go ahead and click the OK button. This is step 3 on page EX73 to display the highest value in the chosen range in cell C14. Quick sanity check, does that look right? It looks like yes. This employee right here, find their name, Teresa Khan, has the most dependents, which is 3 dependents. Why couldn't we just use our eyes and just observe that ourselves and type in 3? Well, remember, we want Excel to do as much work as possible for us. So if we just entered 3 and then we added, a new row with a new record for an employee, maybe someone else got hired and they have more dependents, well, then we would, it would be better if Excel were to update the highest based on this new information for us, instead of us having to do it manually, which could lead to all sorts of human errors. So, following along here on page EX74, to determine the lowest number in a range of numbers using the Submenu, step 1. Select cell C15, and then click the Sum arrow in the Home tab in the Editing group to display the Sum menu. So that's not the Sum button itself, but it's this little arrow right next to it. Here's the Sum menu, and it has all of these very useful functions. This time, let's select Min. Step 2 on page EX74, click Min to display the Min function in the formula bar and in the active cell. And step 3, click cell C4 and then drag through cell C12 to update the function with the new range. Step 4, click the Enter button to determine the lowest value in the range, C4 to C12, and display the result in cell C15.